So, if you're learning Spanish, I'm sure you've been there. You're in the middle of a sentence, you hesitate, and your brain just freezes. Is it muy or mucho? They seem so similar, but picking the wrong one is a dead giveaway that you're still learning. Well, don't worry, we're going to clear this up for good right now. First off, you are not alone. This is like the classic stumbling block for English speakers. In English, we can get a little fuzzy with words like very and a lot, but in Spanish, there's a super clear line in the sand, and once you see it, you'll never get stuck again. Okay, let's just cut right to the chase. Here is the golden rule. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Muy means very. That's it. And mucho means a lot of, much, or many. This one little difference is the key to everything. So you might be thinking, okay, very versus a lot of. Got it. But why is this such a big deal? Well, it's because Spanish grammar is way stricter about this than English is. Yeah, the best way to think about it is that muy and mucho they don't hang out. They're not friends. They have totally different jobs, they stay in their own grammatical lanes, and they never ever cross over. The moment you stop trying to swap them, Spanish suddenly makes a lot more sense. All right, let's tackle the easy one first. Muy. Think of muy as your intensity dial or a volume knob. Its only job, its entire purpose in life, is to crank up the word that comes after it. And the great thing about muy is that it's super consistent. It always means very. It only ever pumps up adjectives and adverbs, describing words. And the best part, it never changes. No masculine, no feminine, no plural. It's always just muy. But it's a little needy. It can't ever be by itself. It always needs a word to modify. Let's look at this coffee. The adjective is caliente, which means hot. So how do you say it's really hot? You got it. Muy caliente. See? Muy is just turning up the dial on hot. And it works exactly the same with adverbs. She sings bien. She sings well. But how well does she sing? She sings muy bien. Very well. See how that works? Muy is just there to add that little extra punch of intensity. All right, so muy is the intensity dial. Got it. Now let's talk about mucho. This one's a bit more of a workhorse. If muy is about quality, mucho is all about quantity. Its job is to measure things, how much of something there is or how much an action is done. And mucho has two main gigs, two jobs it does. First, it acts like an adjective to tell you how much or how many of a thing, a noun, you have. And second, it acts as an adverb to tell you how much an action, a verb, is happening. Let's look at each one. Okay, now this is the one part where you really have to pay attention. When mucho is describing a noun, it's like a chameleon. It has to change its ending to match the noun. So for trabajo, which is masculine, it's mucho trabajo. But for gente, which is feminine, it becomes mucha gente. Plural books, muchos libros. Plural ideas, muchas ideas. But wait, after all that craziness with matching genders and numbers, I've got some great news for you. When mucho does its second job describing a verb, it gets super lazy. It never changes. It's always just mucho. For instance, estudio mucho. I study a lot. The word mucho comes right after the verb estudio, so it just stays as mucho. Simple as that. No matching, no fuss. Okay, so we've got the theory down, but let's be real, how do you actually use this when you're in the middle of a conversation and don't want to freeze up? Let's build a quick little mental shortcut. This is it. This is the one question you need to ask yourself, and it will solve like 99% of your problems here. Just pause for a split second and think, what am I trying to say in English? Is it very, or is it a lot of? So let's walk through that little decision tree in your head. Are you trying to describe an adjective like tired or an adverb like well? Bam! Your brain should immediately go to muy because you mean very. Are you talking about the amount of a noun like friends? That's a job for mucho, and remember, you gotta match it. Or are you talking about how much you do something like sleep? That's mucho too, but it's the easy version that never changes. All right, knowing the rules is great, but let's look at the actual mistakes people make. Because, seeing what not to do can be just as helpful. This way you can spot these traps from a mile away. Okay, mistake number one, and it's a big one. Estoy mucho cansado. The problem here is that tired, cansado, is a quality, not a quantity. You don't have a lot of tired. You are very tired. And since tired is an adjective, you absolutely have to use muy. Estoy muy cansado. And here's the flip side of that coin.
Tengo muy libros. You can't have very books, right? It just sounds weird. Books are things you can count, so you need to talk about the quantity. You have a lot of books or many books. That's a job for mucho. And since libros is masculine and plural, it has to be muchos. Tengo muchos libros.
And remember how we said muy can't be left all alone at the end of a sentence? This is a perfect example. You can't say someone talks very. You have to say they talk a lot. So when a word is modifying a verb and sitting at the end of a sentence like this, it's got to be mucho. Habla mucho.
Okay, so let's just boil this all down. Quick recap. If you're thinking very and you're describing an adjective or an adverb, use muy. If you're thinking a lot of or many and you're talking about nouns, use mucho and match it. And if you're thinking a lot to describe how much you do a verb, it's always just mucho. That's the whole system.
And this, right here, is probably the most powerful takeaway from this whole thing. It's the a lot of test. And seriously, it almost never fails. If you can substitute the words a lot of into your English sentence and it still makes sense, you're going to use mucho. If you can't, you use muy. That little trick will get you the right answer almost every single time.
And honestly, that's it. That's the whole secret. Stop thinking of them as the same thing and start thinking of them as very versus a lot of. I promise with a little practice, you won't even have to think about it anymore. So what other Spanish grammar rule drives you crazy? Let us know what we should break down next. Thanks for watching.